Hey, deserving listeners, it's time for another episode of Psychology in Seattle, which is both a podcast and a YouTube channel. And this episode, I'm going to react to 90 Day Fiancé, in which we follow Darcey's story. We're at the end of season 3. Let's see what happens.
I think because I got engaged fairly quickly, I feel like you never really let me enjoy my engagement. And have you ever, that's on you. Have you ever said, let's throw an engagement party or anything like that? Nope. It's like, you don't even want to know that Florian and I exist. You don't even tell us about it too much. It's okay. You don't ever ask me questions about my relationship. I don't want to know anything about your relationship. I want to focus on, selfish. My life too. I wanted to get to know Tom on a deeper level, but it's like.
Wow. So it's pretty hard to watch the way that two of them talk to each other. And it's pretty hard to hear what Darcey just said. Stacy's like, oh, you never wanted to throw me a party or anything. Now, it's not the best way to put it. Stacy could have been like, I always wanted you to be excited for me, and it hurt me that you weren't excited for me. But instead of saying that, she's like, you didn't do that. And for Darcey to be like, no, I don't care about your relationship. I don't care about your engagement. And to feel like that's an okay thing to say. From the looks of it, Darcey has put up with a lot of criticism and judgment from Stacy. It's just heartbreaking to see two siblings who could be very supportive of each other, who have what seems to be a lot of contempt for each other.
Stacy, let me ask you this. Do you think Darcey is bringing the Jesse baggage into this relationship with Tom?
No. I think she's over that. That's the past. She's let that go.
I think you've still got a lot of hang-ups about the last relationship, because I don't think that you've let go of that yet.
Even if Emma is kind of correct, it's the delivery. She seems so sure of herself without getting to know Darcey, without asking her, what do you think? How do you feel about this? Which would be a wonderful opportunity to ask those questions. But to come up on high and say, I have declared Darcey is not over her past relationship, it's not easy to watch.
How often did you two talk about Jesse when you were together?
Most days.
Most days. Every single day, basically.
Every day.
He came up.
No, I don't believe that.
You don't think so, Darcey?
No. Obviously, it's going to come up as a topic. What to beware of,
I understood where it came from, though.
Right.
It was this fear that maybe I was not going to be quite what she thought it was, and she was going to get a replication of what she had.
Good job, Tom. You understood where it came from, because she was worried that it was going to be a replication of what she had before. And I was determined to make sure it wasn't that way. Hopefully he would say something like that. So kudos to Tom for recognizing that. Like, okay, it's fine if Darcey was grieving the past and worried that this was going to be repeated. It makes sense that she'd be worried about that.
I'm not trying to judge you off the bat because I don't know you in person, but as what I've seen, you really manipulated her. I mean, I do only know one side, but honestly, looking at you, I don't think you should be here.
You don't think you being here is kind of up Darcey's new relationship?
No, because I'm not talking about her.
So I like this end of the season show where they kind of mix things up and they have the other people mix it up with the other people. And so they brought Jesse back, and now the other people of this season are laying into him a little bit. It's interesting to see. I wonder how he will react to this.
Read a post from you 3 days ago where you were talking about her. They're having relationship problems because your name, and then you show up here. It just seems like you want them to have problems.
I don't like to judge people, but I also see Darcey and how she is now. And to be honest, I blame you.
So one speculation, no way to know unless I really sat down with Jesse and he willingly opened up to me about his insecurities and his defensive structure. What I will say is that, as I've talked about before, when you have that veil of grandiosity and narcissism and superiority that is covering up for you and other people the vast sea of worthlessness and emptiness that is underneath that, you will look for any excuse to find limelight. That's one way to do it. There's different people, there's different ways of defending yourself in a superior, grandiose way. One of which is through limelight, this notion that any attention is good attention, that having all eyeballs on you validates your existence. It erases the emptiness below because people are paying attention to you, even if the attention is bad. And of course, Jesse, I'm guessing, although probably getting a lot of bad tweets, he probably gets a lot of good ones as well. And so that fuels that superior defensive structure of like, I'm better than other people because I get more attention online. I'm better than other people because X, Y, and Z. And in order to uphold that supply, going on TV shows, even though it might not be the best idea for you, is a way to get there. I can't know that about Jesse, but it is an hypothesis that if I did treat him, which of course I never would, because my practice is full and he would never hire me, but it would be a hypothesis to investigate.
How do you not see that you're adding drama?
This ain't none of my business, and it ain't none of your business, and it ain't none of your business. Stay in your lane, dude. I don't agree what happened either. Don't y'all bullying this man. That's between Jesse.
Listen,
you
I'm
listen.
a friend.
I have 6 grandkids. You listen.
The last thing I want to do is trigger her to text me again and to call me again, because that's what she's been doing until last month for over 2 to 3 years.
No, I want to hear it with Darcey.
Interesting. So both Darcey and Jesse are claiming that the other one has been reaching out to the other one this entire time. So I wonder what the real truth is. Honestly, I could see it going either way. It's hard to believe Jesse in this situation. And Stacey can corroborate that Jesse called Darcey. Has Darcey been reaching out to Jesse over the time? Maybe not while she was in London, but at other times. I wouldn't doubt it, but who knows? It's just one of those things that we might not ever know. They might just accuse each other, and we'll never know the real answer.
I don't put up with like manipulative because I've been through an abusive relationship.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I want to like distance myself, you know what I mean?
So this is an interesting situation that I think a lot of you out there might be able to relate to. This other woman is confronting him. She, I guess, has watched the TV show and knows Jesse's backstory. She is getting in his face, kind of. She's standing up. She's saying, "You're wrong." You get this sense like she just wants to put Jesse in his place or something like that. And Jesse's like, "Look, I'm not here for," he's just kind of being quiet, defending himself. And then at a certain point, her emotionality turns this corner, and she's like, she just feels all those feelings that she felt in previous relationships with guys that treated her like the way Jesse treated Darcey. And it's a lot of emotion, and it's real, and it's good. And I'm glad she's getting this moment that she can confront Jesse, who is, she's kind of confronting these past relationships. She is getting her emotions out. She's grieving those past things. She's getting support. It's all healthy emotional stuff. Emotions are our friends. And I wonder if people out there, when you watch this show, when you see Jesse, it triggers that in you too. It reminds you of an abusive past partner. It reminds you of someone who may have had that superior veil. It reminds you of someone who never took responsibility. I think all of us can relate to that. I can relate to that. I can think of people close to my, my past, close to me, who would do that sort of thing. Now, in modern parlance, we might call it gaslighting because they never apologize and they're always pointing out that you're wrong. I don't know if I like that term, but at the very least, I think we've all been there. And for some of us, it might be particularly present in our feelings. That it must have been particularly traumatic. We have a lot of unexpressed, unprocessed grief feelings and trauma feelings. Maybe even someone who hit you and controlled you and ruined your life for a period of time, got inside your head and convinced you that it was all your fault. And so when you see someone like Jesse on the television, it brings all that up, which all of us deserve, to grieve those feelings, to get support, to get safe, to find our power, to have justice. And so there's that. And we need to recognize that Jesse is not the person that you were involved with or I was involved with. So we have to separate and differentiate that out. Jesse might trigger those feelings in you, but Jesse is not the person that did those things to you. Now, you could say that you want to stand up for Darcey and attack him in some way or another, online or something, on Darcey's behalf, I suppose. But I just want to highlight that we've all been damaged that way and harmed and abused in that way, some of us more than others, and we should take care of ourselves as we get triggered in this way.
I still don't trust you, but...
Yeah, no, it's okay. What was your name again? Sorry,
Avery.
All right, thank you, appreciate that.
Stop.
That what he did was wrong. And he deserves to be told that it is wrong for what he did. And the first time someone stands up to him, then you're bullying him.
I felt like I was in your situation when I seen it.
Thank you.
But I wanted to stick up for you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I've been through a relationship.
Yeah,
I see.
know.
So there it is. She's saying, I've been in a relationship similar to you. I want to stick up for you. It's a vicarious sticking together. Now, we could also say that it's a feminist solidarity thing of, I am seeing another woman suffer from the patriarchy, from sexism, from harm from men, and you and I are going to stick together. We're going to stick up for each other. And if I see a woman being controlled and mistreated by another man, I'm going to stick up for that woman, and I'm going to attack that man, because all of us women need to stick together. So I can absolutely see that as well.
Since Darcey and I broke up, I'm doing more than ever before. I'm graduating this year with a degree in psychology. I'm an actor. I'm, also coaching people. And I've been doing a lot of speaking events about life and love with different audiences. To be able to reach so many people, it's just incredible. Good afternoon.
Okay, interesting. So he's getting a degree in psychology. I don't know what level, and he is giving a lot of talks. Is this the audience that he talks to?
Thank you all for coming. I've been working with seniors before I was 16, and I love it. I'm from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. I came to the US for love. I didn't succeed, and I fell for, something that I expected to be different. I just love inspiring people, speaking on big stages. Any questions thus far? No? At the end of the presentation, I'll have a sheet where we can just,
So I'm having a really hard time understanding what's happening here. He has a PowerPoint of himself in a tuxedo. Is love really all we need? And he's speaking to some older people, and they have confused looks on their faces. I mean, I don't know. Let's see where this goes.
I'm shining my light and allowing others to do the same. It's just a dream come true.
So interesting statement. I like shining my light and having other people do the same.
But after the breakup, she's been stalking me ever since in any possible way.
What kind of stuff she sent you?
At this point, she has been contacting me over and over again. She would say things like, I will always love you, and I thought we had one more chance. And then I actually picked up the phone. I was like, I just want to let you know, if you're going to keep stalking me, I'm going to file a lawsuit.
He showed a screen. It could be doctored. You can also get rid of your own texts and then show someone the screen where it looks like it's all one-sided. I didn't look closely. Who knows? Maybe she was reaching out to him a lot. Now, I will say that breakups are messy, and sometimes after a breakup, there's a lot of conversations going back and forth, some good, some bad. So I wouldn't call that stalking. Texting is not stalking unless the texts are threatening or use it in a way of trying to terrorize you. I don't know if I would call that stalking. I think they're both accusing the other person of stalking the other person. It's interesting, to think about when they were together, that style of relationship continued past the breakup point. I wonder if we'll ever know the real situation.
I really wished she moved on, but until last month, she still reached out. The facts are that for 2 years straight, she's been reaching out to me. I was like, all right, is something wrong or something? So I answered the phone. It was crazy. She was like, I'm so upset. You can't do this to me. And then I was sad. Like, you gotta have people around you that care for you, can help you with counseling. And she twisted that as if in, like, I wanted counseling with her. No.
Now, some of you might be wondering, he's narcissistic. He has a psychology degree. He's gonna use it for evil. Maybe. But maybe not. I actually know I know a lot of people because I have been working in this industry for 25 years-ish. And there are some who self-identify as being on the narcissistic personality spectrum. And for those people who are aware of their narcissism, they can be very effective people in psychology, in psychiatry, and counseling and research. They have issues. Everyone has issues. And their issue happens to be narcissistic personality spectrum. That's my term. They might say narcissistic personality disorder or narcissistic personality traits or something. So there's lots of terminology for it, but I hope you get my meaning. So the fact that someone has narcissistic personality does not bar them from being an effective clinician or a researcher or a professor or a supervisor. In the same way that being on the borderline personality spectrum, having borderline personality disorder does not mean you can't be an effective clinician. Conversely, if you have no disorder in the DSM, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to be an awesome clinician and good to people. So we need to separate those out. Having a personality issue is in no way a barrier to becoming an effective clinician. What is a barrier is not taking ownership over your own issues and how you affect your clients. In my world at Antioch University, Seattle, and other programs around the world as well, a big component of the training of a clinician is to know your own issues and to wrestle with them and to try to resolve them and become very aware of them, know how they impact other people, so that when you do have a client that triggers those issues in you, you don't harm your clients. You also don't harm your clients just with your own personality.
I want Darcey to say what she needs to say without fear. If she gets that, then she can move forward and we can maybe work something to a point where we're happy and we're not having to deal with this sort of thing. I wanted to have a voice again. Yeah. Because she lost it along the way.
So, great thing that Tom is saying, very differentiated. I want what's best for Darcey. I want her to have her voice. Makes sense.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Thank you, Jesse.
Yeah,
good to see you.
You look great, by the way.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for everything. I really appreciate it.
Again, total speculation. I would have to assess Jesse to know this, but there is a quality for people on narcissistic personality spectrum where they do a lot of impression management. There's various different, essentially, the personality, all of the people with narcissistic personality are the same in that they are covering up a vast sea of worthlessness and emptiness and terror with grandiosity, superiority, and narcissistic supply, we call it. And so, but that can look like a lot of different ways. One of the ways that it can manifest is a lot of impression management, meaning how you come across to people, how you look. And one of the ways that you can manage how you come across to people, the impression you give to other people, is to be extremely polite. And so that's all I'll say right there. Like I said, I can't diagnose. As I always say in all these episodes, the only thing I'm going off of is what the producers are showing me, of which is edited and there's music and they know they're being filmed. And so there's just no way to know what's really happening. While I'm on the topic, please subscribe, hit the bell below, because that's great when you can do that. If you want to. Don't do it if you don't want to, by any means. Also, become a patron of the podcast on patreon.com. Again, only if you want to, but when you do, it really makes me happy. Every time someone becomes a patron, I get a little email. It says, so-and-so became a patron, and I'm like, that's really cool of you. All right, well, that does it for the end of season 3, in which I, a couples therapist, reacts to 90 Day Fiancé following Darcey and Tom. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.